I'm at the Dreamy Draw Recreation Area in Arizona. I've got the Lectric Xpeak 2.0, and this is gonna be my very first off-road ride with it. It looks like we got a lot of rocks, and again, it's hot. Day 2 of the Lectric Media Day. Gonna get to ride another bike, this time up on some trails. So let's see how today goes. Oh yeah, and I get to visit the Lectric headquarters, which I haven't done. There it is. Charging for all the electric cars.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll let you guys get to the tour. I'll go in there. All right, see ya.
Your official tour guide.
Should we start recording from here?
I'll be your person.
Yeah.
Going through the service department first.
Yep.
That's probably where I would feel most at home.
Yeah.
Where the tools are.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. You could be in my camera shot.
What's up? Straight to Palooza.
I am Christy Hatter. I'm the VP of Brand here at Lectric Xpeak, and I'm going to take you on a quick tour of our headquarters and show you around. We do take virtual calls with our bike tech, so put the bike up on the stand that they own, and they'll show them, part by part how to do, whether it be fixing a flat or brakes or some other type of tune-up. Oh, Scotty's demonstrating the wheel. And so now every day people can spin the wheel, they guess a number, and they get it right, they win a little trophy. So there's like 24 numbers.
Come on over.
13.
What's the most important rule, Scotty?
The house always wins.
Exactly.
House always wins. I guess 4. Number
13,
4.
4, and then do you have a number?
23.
All right, we'll go in that order. No winners today. It's been a sad day.
Whoa.
That's a wheel winner.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Area 13.
That was crazy. Hey, if
It
you
was
want,
meant to be.
We have this trophy. Do you want it?
Oh yeah,
All right,
I'll take
that
the
was
trophy.
good. All right. And what did you say your number was? 4?
4.
Wow, that was crazy. That was live. Yeah.
On camera.
That was on camera.
That was real. I'm honored to have a little
Yeah, exactly.
plastic
Yeah, you
trophy.
can
How many
just-
people not from Lectric have one of these?
You might be the only one.
That's right.
So this is where all the magic happens.
This is our little diamond
Okay.
So
There you go.
not as nice as yours.
It's a little bit smaller, a little easier to move around though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need a pallet jack or a forklift to move it.
So what's a bike you guys would really like to build, but right now it just doesn't make any kind of practical sense?
That's a great question.
What's your favorite bike that we sell?
Here?
Yeah.
That's a good question too. Definitely Expedition 2.0 so far.
What's a big weird request that you guys get from your customers out there? Like, why don't you do this?
Can we get a pink trike?
Yeah.
Hear that one a lot.
Pink
Love to
trike?
have the trike in pink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
for
too
sure.
bad.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of different color options. Is,
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people I feel like always ask for like full suspension.
What's your thought process on app integration? Is it too costly, or is that kind of a game plan that you see? Because a lot of competitors are doing it now, so.
That is true.
But you also want to be more affordable for the
Affordable.
customer, so.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it's not mature enough yet, and before we put something into our products, we want to make sure that it is well dialed and actually providing some tangible benefit to the customer while maintaining safety.
I'm in pedal assist 2. And this is enough power for me. Up a slight hill anyway. 3. Feels a little better, but I need a little more. I'm gonna bump it up to 4. All right. That feels pretty good. Now I can put in kind of a light to medium effort for me anyway. I should make sure the suspension is not, oh yeah, that's nice and flush, good. I want to make sure it wasn't locked out. So this is a hardtail fat tire bike. They've got a couple of battery options for this bike now, up to 20 amp hours, which is quite nice. I should have plenty of range to go wherever I need to go. This is probably not the typical use case for this bike, but I like to know what they're capable of. This trail would be really nice on a full suspension bike. So far, so good. So, right off the bat, I am noticing something rattling a lot. Inside the frame, guessing it's a motor controller because everything else seems pretty sturdy. It's not the derailleur. Well, this is definitely taking me to a place I could not have gone otherwise. The question is, where to go now? For some reason, I just want to go up. All right, so I stopped at this small little peak. It's not the big peak I was going for, but I don't think me or the bike are quite up to that big of a challenge. I was coming down some of these hills and felt the brakes out a little bit. They felt pretty good. I am surprised. I checked. They are using a 203 millimeter rotor, so that's a good thing. Tire-wise, these are the Chow Yang tires that have been around production for years and years and years, and actually are very reliable and can go thousands of miles. So good tire setup on this, good brakes, those feel pretty good. They're using the RST Renegade front suspension fork, which has a through axle. This is a proper good fat bike fork. Adjustment is a little bare bones, preload and a lockout switch, but it's got a little bit. A little bit more would probably be nice on this rocky of a trail. It's a little bouncy maybe, but I don't think they were really planning for people to do this kind of riding on this bike, but it's doing it. So I'm gonna go down a little bit further in the hopes that the trail smooths out. Oh boy. That is not looking like the case. So bouncy and rocky. There we go. The pedals are nice aluminum pedals with a lot of grip. So I'm thankful for that. This looks pretty smooth and nice. Let's take this. I think this is a lot closer to what this bike was made for. Oh, that didn't last long. Okay, that looks doable. Come on, keep going. That's right at the limit of its power. It did it. Whew. So far, it seems like it's always made it. But you get up some of these steeper sections, it really slows down, which makes me think the torque on this is a little bit low lower than I would have expected. So now that I'm on the road, the bike feels smooth, there's no rattling. Let's see if I, oh no, it's actually still rattles a little bit if you hit a bump here or there. All right, that may have been a rough ride, but it was a quick way to find the limits of the bike for sure. The brakes worked quite well. The big 203 millimeter rotors up front with the hydraulic brakes was doing a good job. Definitely had to get a tight grip on it on some of those downhill stretches because they were pretty steep, and I was holding, you know, my weight, my backpack, the weight of the bike and everything, trying to modulate the power and the rolling as much as possible because that was a very, very technical ride, more so than I've done in a long time. The fork felt decent. That was way more than what this bike was designed for, but it handled it. I never felt it bottom out, which is good. Like I said, this is the RST Renegade. Lots of space for a bigger tire on there, lots of clearance using a proper through axle. We've got the lockout adjustment on one side here and then the preload on the other. So nothing too terribly fancy, but is a big step up from forks you normally see in this price range. The next thing up would be something that, you know, has air adjustment or something, but you're usually spending more money to get that. Now it does have a torque sensor now, which is quite nice. They've got different modes so you can kind of program it to your liking. They bumped up to an 8-speed. It looks like they're still running a freewheel as opposed to a cassette, but it gets you one more gear, a little more range. Still using a Shimano Altus, so very entry-level shifter here. I do like that the rims have cutouts to save some weight. Sometimes you just see solid rims, which is actually not a benefit, it's just extra weight you don't need. The rear rack feels sturdy, the fenders feel sturdy. I actually did not feel the rack, the fenders, or any of that rattling around at all. Some occasional chain slap, but I had some pretty gnarly drops off those rocks. And then, of course, there was the rattling inside the frame, which was quite annoying. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to assume, like I said, motor controller. It was too quick and rattly to be the battery. That would be a more heavier, clunky sound. So I'm gonna guess it's the motor controller or some wiring involved with the motor controller inside the frame. They're using this style of seat clamp, which I think is a little outdated. I'd like to see a more modern setup on there. One of the areas where they're cutting some cost out that most consumers aren't gonna notice. I don't know why there's a shim inside the seat post frame setup, but there is for some reason. Water bottle holder comes standard, so that's good. Using the same LCD color display that we saw on the Expedition. So you've got your battery up here, wattage, speed, pedal assist level, and the odometer. And the other one I said was easy to read even in full sunlight. So is this one. Hopefully that's coming through on camera okay. Now we do have a headlight and tail light. There's a nice bright headlight up there. Here is the tail light, just a running light. Kind of an odd choice for some reason not to have a brake light. That's like standard these days. All the wiring and everything's already there. So motor-wise, it is using a geared hub motor in the back, and it felt a little weak on the torque. I really wish that I had my dyno to test the bike and see what the actual torque was. Again, if I get the bike in my hands at my shop, of course, I'm gonna do a dyno run. Now, I never ran out of power. I wanna be clear about that. There was never a hill that I got to that I could not make it up. However, it really slowed down, and some it felt close, like it was on the verge of running out of power, and I'm about 150 pounds. So if you are 200 pounds, 225, somewhere in that range, I think it could run out of power. So that's something to be aware of. I don't know what the official torque number is yet. It just, my gut feeling was that up a really steep hill, it just needs a little more oomph. The standard bike comes in at $13.99. I think for the fork and the big rotors, you're getting a good value out of it. you can bump up to $1,599, so $1,600, and that gets you a 20 amp hour battery. So overall, is this a good deal? Is it a good bargain? Yes. Is it perfect? Not quite. Just the torque on those steep hills and the rattling are the two glaring issues. Seat post thing is just my minor nitpicking, and the taillight I just find to be a little bit of an oddity. But everything else is working good. They have definitely made some upgrades to the bike. The torque sensor, the 8-speed, the thumb throttle they use is in a nice spot, very smooth, easy to use. So overall, I do like the bike, and I think you're getting your money's worth. And from everything I saw and heard from Lectric this morning from their factory tour, tells me they really are trying to deliver a really good product, and the consumers are coming first. This is just the latest and greatest bike that they have in the hardtail fat tire class, and I'm sure we're gonna see more changes, more bikes, and more from Lectric as time goes on.